Tell us about this season. You excited, looking forward?
Yeah, I am excited. You know, I think we have, it's certainly the best group that we've had since I've been at Bucknell. We've got more experience, we've got more depth, and we've got more versatility. You know, I don't think we still have not yet in 10 or 11 days of practice established our consistency level, so that's certainly something we want to work on, both as a team and having guys that we know what we can get every single night. But the positive is I think we can go 9, possibly 10 deep, and in that group we probably have 8 guys that will have led us in scoring in some game during their career. You know, I think Daryl Shazer's less in scoring, Brian Cohen's less in scoring, Bryson Johnson, Joe Willman, Mike Muscala, G.W. Boone. I'm missing a guy now. You got Stephen Tyree. Maybe he's not led us in scoring, but you've got 7 returning guys who have all demonstrated the ability to perform. And now we just need them all to click together.
Everybody's optimistic in the off season, but this summer being around with a bunch of your guys at Kathy's camp, it seemed like their confidence was buoyed by the second half of last season. Is that really going to give you something good to build on? Does that carry over to this season?
I think so. I hope so. You know, I think there's the flip side that you want to make sure is that they don't automatically assume that, you know, we're just going to keep rolling. That we got there because of some resilience. We got there because of some character, some leadership, and guys stepping up. And now we need to take that as a springboard to take the proverbial next step. I think they have that mindset, but there is an innate confidence about them that was probably lacking the previous year and a half, and that's important. You know, if you believe you're going to make the shot or get the stop or get the rebound, you got a better chance of having that happen than if you're uncertain.
Yeah, in that stretch at the end last year, 2 losses, a bad loss, scoreboard-wise anyhow, at Lehigh, where they kind of took you out of everything, and then an unexpected upset loss in the first round of the tournament. Obviously, you don't like to lose a game, but is there a silver lining in that where that it made them maybe work just a little harder in the off season, knowing that they have the potential that the streak showed, but still things to do?
Well, I think the Lehigh loss was, you know, Lehigh loss illuminated some things that we needed to do, both individually and as a team, to combat a team that just really went at us that game with a defensive ferocity that we had not seen. And I think you give a lot of credit to Lehigh and their defensive intensity, but we were back on our heels. And so I think we took that, excuse me, as something individually and collectively that we had to be aware of. I think the Holy Cross loss, you know, we were the 2 days of practice, again, a very young team, leading up to the Patriot League tournament game. We were like my daughters before Christmas. You know, we were skittish, we were hyper, we were almost too looking forward to the game, and I think we played that way. I think we had good shots, we had open shots, we missed shots that we'd made, and I think that was more a learning part of having a calmness about you heading into a big game. So hopefully that'll pay off as well.
Talk just real quick about the non-conference schedule. What do you see as the biggest challenges? How do you feel about playing 3 games in 3 days like you're going to down in Harrisonburg?
Well, I think, you know, number one, we play at Villanova. You go to 2 days later, you play at Marquette. You know, very, very challenging. You play Richmond on the road. You know, NCAA team. You go to Boston College. Not to mention kind of our traditional home-and-home rivalry games with really, really good teams. But you know, an NCAA tournament teams or NIT or you know, some of the other postseason tournaments. That's going to be a challenge. You know, I thought last year our schedule, our non-conference schedule, kind of put us on our heels when we lost a couple, and we really went in a downward spiral. And I don't think we had the maturity or the collective resolve to bounce back from that. And it really set us back. To the kids' credit, we bounced back. I think we have a more experience, more maturity that if things don't necessarily go our way against a Villanova or Marquette or whoever it might be, hopefully that it doesn't cost you another game. A chance to play 3 games in 3 days. We're part of a CBE Auto Parts Classic, and one of the great attractions, obviously good teams. You're talking about Presbyterian, who sat out their top 3 players from the year before, so they'd be eligible for the conference tournament, so they're going to be much improved. Princeton picked to win the Ivy League. James Madison, I think, routinely picked second in a really, really good Colonial League. But the caveat is the following year, as part of our agreement with the Gazelle Group who runs that tournament, we'll host a pod where we'll have 3 home games in 3 days against very good teams, and scheduling to get home games at Bucknell in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania is always a challenge, and so that was an opportunity to kind of get into scheduling alignment to give us an opportunity down the road to get some home games.
Thank you, Coach.